How's it going, everyone? This is Adam from Slurv, Ship My Money on DraftKings. I'll be breaking down the pitching slate for you for today, August 9th. I think it's a pretty interesting slate. There's one top starter and then some mid-tier guys that I think are in pretty interesting spots. So starting with DraftKings cash games, I really want Max Scherzer at 12,900 against the Indians. It's not an ideal matchup because the Indians do have some lefties that can hit, but they strike out about 20% of the time against right-handed pitching, and Scherzer just has the most upside on this slate. His strikeout percentage is about 5 percentage points higher than the next closest option, and his swinging strike percentage is about 3.5 percentage points higher than the next closest option. So I really just want to lock him in. And on top of that, on DraftKings, you get a little bit of a price discount on him as well at 12,900. He hasn't been priced below 13,000 since, I believe, June 18th. So it's a little bit of a discount there. For my second starting pitcher, I want Kenta Maeda at $9,700 going against the Phillies. I think he'll be a really popular play, but I think it's a good play as well. He's a minus 200 favorite in a game with a total of 7. And the Phillies are a better hitting team right now than they have been for most of the season, but I think he matches up really well with them. He has been good against hitters from both sides of the plate this year, but he strikes out more right-handed batters. He has a 28% strikeout rate against righties compared to a 20% strikeout rate against lefties. And although the Phillies have a balanced lineup in terms of numbers of lefties and righties, the middle of their order is all right-handed. And so even if he gives up base hits to guys like Herrera, Hernandez, I think he'll be able to get out of it by striking out guys like Joseph and Alter and Cameron Rupp. So I do like this matchup for him a lot. For FanDuel cash, Kenta Maeda is my number one point per dollar play. So he's going to be the guy that I put in originally and build a team around. If it turns out that I have a lot of money left over, or there's a position where I don't feel like I have to pay up, then I'll go to Scherzer just because he does have the best strikeout stuff, which gives him the highest floor. But Maeda is going to be the guy that I start with when I build my cash teams on FanDuel. For GPPs on DraftKings, there are 4 pitchers really that I'm interested in. The first one is Scherzer, since he has the highest ceiling. He'll obviously be popular, but that's fine. I still have interest in him. After that, Marco Estrada at 11,500. He's definitely overpriced, but I think that's going to make it so he's not owned, and he's in a really good matchup with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, has had trouble with right-handed pitching all season long. They traded 2 of their better hitters, and if you look at their projected lineup now, the bottom 3 guys in the order average about a 30% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, and then the middle of the order are guys that they are good hitters, but against fly ball pitchers, they all strike out more. And Corey Dickerson in particular is really bad against fly ball pitchers. Like, he strikes out a lot more, and he just doesn't hit them well. So I think this sets up really, really nicely for Estrada, and you'll be able to get him basically unowned because of his price. Hector Santiago at $8,000 is another interesting tournament play for me. He pretty much does as well as his control allows him to. Against right-handed pitching this season, he walks about 10% of batters, and Houston does have some guys that are pretty patient in their lineup, but they also have a lot of guys that will strike out against left-handed pitching. And the only guys that really hit left-handed pitching well are Springer and Jose Altuve. So if he's able to contain them and he can locate, his fastball and his pitches, I think he's going to have a lot of success with this lineup. And I don't think people will really be on him because the Astros are a team that seems like they should be really good against lefties, even though they aren't. My favorite cheap pitcher is Daniel Norris going for the Tigers against the Mariners. It's not an ideal spot, and he's not a great pitcher, but I just don't see a lot that I like in these cheap options. And he, in his last 2 minor league starts, he went 6 2/3 and then 7 innings, so he should be stretched out. And kind of similar to the Astros, the Mariners have Cruz and Gutierrez, who are elite options against left-handed pitching, and then the rest of their lineup is like average to below average. So I think if he can contain Cruz and Gutierrez, he should have a pretty nice start. Throughout his career, he doesn't have heavy platoon splits. He's got a lower WOBA against right-handed hitting, higher xFIP against right-handed hitting. His strikeout percentages are pretty much both around 18.5%. I don't expect him to go out and have a great game, but I do think he can get a decent amount of strikeouts because the Mariners' projected lineup strikes out between 21 and 22% of the time against lefties. And I think if he can contain Cruz and Gutierrez, he should be able to limit damage and give you a nice score that'll let you get some good hitters in your lineup. For tournaments on FanDuel, I will be all in most likely on Marco Estrada at 8,700. Obviously, I like him for the same reasons that I liked him on DraftKings, but his price is a lot more reasonable on FanDuel. He still will be low owned though because he's priced $100 below Kenta Maeda, and he's the same price as John Lackey. So those two are going to just dominate all the ownership in that range, and I think you'll be able to get Estrada at really low ownership with just as high, if not higher, upside than either of them in their matchups tonight. Again, like with my cash lineup, if I have a bunch of money left over, then I'll, then I would go to Scherzer just because he does have higher raw point upside than Estrada. But I don't anticipate having $3,000 left over. So Estrada will most likely be my pitcher in every FanDuel tournament tonight. So that's what I have for right now. As always, stop into the Slurve chat or find me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. Good luck tonight, guys.